Welcome back to the GSTL. Things are getting a little bit heated here, as Tassar was able to bring FOU at least into the match that could bring him to the ace match. They're 2-3. They're still only one loss away of getting knocked down here, but I think a lot of people were expecting Tassar to fall and for us to have the quick 4-1. It did not happen that way. Took that last engagement the way he wanted to. And now we got a ZBZ.
Yeah, we have a Zerg versus Zerg, and it's actually kind of crazy. Tassar, he must be such a happy panda right now. I mean, this guy hasn't won a game in the entirety of Heart of the Swarm offline just yet, and now finally he has that first victory. We can only hope that this is just the beginning for him to actually go into a series of wins right now, that it gives him the confidence that he needs to approach the next matchups with the mindset that he really needs, because that was one of the things that he definitely had lacking in the past. But as already mentioned, Wolf, right now we're going into a Zerg versus Zerg, and this match is going to be so important right now, and Shoya knows it. You can see him here on the bench, and this is one of the matches where it isn't even the match that could win them the game. It's actually just the match that might bring them into the ace match, and that's exactly the match that they need right now. But JKS, in the past, has not been the Zerg versus Zerg Terminator that they need right now.
Yeah, he's... we talked about this like a million times, but it has to be restated. In this format, you will get unlucky sometimes, and this is not the first time JKS has had to play a ZVZ. So for him, he's got to be sitting there going, well, couldn't do it last time, but maybe this time I can. Whirlwind is the map, so again for him, it's tough to do an all-in or to be extremely aggressive because it's a 4-player map, you don't know your opponent's spawning location. So he's got to be looking at this thinking, I have to do something crazy, I have to pull off a miracle here. I expect he goes mutas. If we go to the lair tech for him, I do not think he's going to try to play a straight-up game against Ragnarok with Roach, Hydra, and of course Investors.
I could actually see him just go for an absolute snipe build here, to be quite honest with you. I mean, in this match, we talked a bit about the win ratios earlier, 90 or 80% win ratio for Ragnarok, only 5 maps played, granted, but we have only roughly 7 played for his opponent, and he lost 6 of them, which is kind of brutal. So I don't know, JKS, he probably has something really prepared. I mean, looking at it, he doesn't participate in the individual league right now, so this is where it's at, and that's where you have to put all your time in if you know that an important match is coming up.
Yeah, absolutely true. Ragnarok, on the other hand, probably looked at the stats and looked at the matches played, and found the only thing to study about JKS is that he's not very good at ZVZ, and he's probably going to play a safe game, expecting that JKS is going to be aggressive, as he has been aggressive in the past, and he's just terrible at the matchup.
Well, the game is going to be the most important one for them today, and the question being, of course, can they really pull it out or not? We're going into the game in just a second. Whirlwind, a massive map, and JKS has to find a way to beat Ragnarok, or Zubu's going to take it here at the GSTL Season 2 2013 for you. Going up against Zubu, brought to you by Carl the Wolf and a praying Shoya. Starting to the top right, we have a former FXL player now playing for FOU. He's called now.
JKS FOU.
And JKS, he's the one who needs to bring them into the ace match if they want to win today. And it is not going to be an easy task. Starting to the bottom right of Whirlwind, we have his opponent, the Azubu player, a former TSL Zerg. It is
Azubu Ragnarok.
And Ragnarok in Heart of the Swarm offline, he played 5 maps, he won 4 of them. He took down Mia, Violet, and then he won against Curious twice. He lost against Sulky though, leaves him with an 80% win ratio. Very, very small sample size on the other hand, so always take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, true.
At the same time, we have JKS with 7 maps played and only 1 map won. He won a single map against Burning. That was in the qualifier for the Challenger League in Korea. He lost to Curious, he lost to Hope with an 0-2, and he lost to Violet in the preseason. So not the matchup that JKS wanted to play. Definitely not. And he is going up against former TSL Zerg, and those guys, they had a lot of Zergs. There was a reason why they were actually sometimes jokingly called Team Swarm Life. And with this many Zerg players on the roster, for example, Hyun and Simple, you always have so many training partners that you can use for a mirror match.
Yeah.
That this is the match where a lot of them really dominated for a while.
They were known for it, for sure. I mean, you have a team of basically all Zergs. What are you going to expect? I want to point out that JKS had a blunder with his build. He sent the drone out early at 14 instead of 15 to make hatch first, then started the extra drone, and then sent the drone back, and then sent the drone down. So things for him just not starting off the right foot. His hatch is slightly delayed for this. He's one drone behind constantly as a result, as well as you can see at the top right with our overlays, basically always one drone behind. It's one of those things I want to point out just because it's a mistake that you would never, ever, ever make in the comfort of your team house or, just at home sitting back and playing on the ladder. But maybe when nerves get tense, when you're playing your worst matchup and your whole team is depending on you to win, you mess up your hatchery timing just by like 3 seconds.
I mean, there's a reason why we saw Choya basically praying on the bench. He knows that the win of Tacita was only the first step. They need step number 2, and this is just JKS bringing it home right now, or at least like bringing them into the ace match, I should say. So at this point, both of them heading into a late game. Whirlwind is a massive map. You can sometimes go for a very aggressive timing here, but that's highly unlikely. Not really highly unlikely, but it's something that we don't see all that often just because the distance between the bases is pretty huge, and if you end up being cross-map, that puts you in a really awkward spot. But so far, Ragnarok doing a decent job with his macro, actually. Putting him a little bit ahead in the Harvester count, which also, of course, is a result of what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And we have
double Banes.
Baneliness for both. You kind of have to go Baneliness if you don't
on
go
Whirlwind
for a
especially.
Yeah. So if someone actually commits here, then we might see a micro battle, and that might be the one thing that JKS could win. I don't know.
The thing is, if he sees the Baneling Nest here, JKS, he probably doesn't want to go for a big aggressive push because he knows his opponent will have the defender's advantage. And actually the same is true of Ragnarok now, who knows that his Baneling Nest has been scouted and that he knows... I feel like both players are just going to take a step back now and go ahead and go into the macro game. You're right, though. That could be one way that JKS wins the game, but now that he's scouted his opponent's Baneling Nest, I think it's much less likely.
Yeah, he only builds 2 and he puts them on the top of the ramp, so this is defensive what he's going for now. And we have also the gas spent for Ragnarok now into tech, so there's no way he's going to commit to any kind of aggression right now. Takes the extra gas. And the same is, by the way, true for JKS, getting a few additional extractors here. Ling's running actually into the main base, so he sees everything. He sees also that the attack was started a little bit later for JKS, so...
Yeah, he saw it start, so he knows the exact timing.
Yeah.
This is something, actually, that Ragnarok, on the other hand, does not know about JKS. He doesn't know his lair timing, so... Oh, actually, I got the colors mixed again.
So that JKS doesn't
swap,
know.
Yeah, swap it back. JKS does not know about the very fast lair timing of Ragnarok here.
Oh! No, I was close. One more hit and the Baneling would have gone down against a single Zergling, but that didn't quite happen. So for now, both of them just with the Overlord squad in the main base, extra gas taken. Looks like we're gonna see Spire.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And the earlier Spire will go to Ragnarok, who... if you look at the gas right now, also has the slight gas lead.
I'm actually not that much concerned about the gas. I'm more concerned about the harvester count. This is like 49, soon to be 52, against 43. That's nearly a 10 supply harvester lead, and that makes a difference.
It really does. Even minerals do count when you go to mutas, because you're going to need the minerals to back up, of course, the gas that you have. And you're also going to want to make a lot of speedlings to be able to hold your third base and or pressure your opponent's third. So that's where that mineral income comes into play. Speaking of which, if he can snipe this drone, that would be a huge win. Nicely done. That's really huge. He gets his base up first.
Yep, gets the base up first. Has to be careful with those Zerglings against the Banelings there. Good job so far. But yeah, gas count, as you already mentioned a bit earlier, we have a better gas count currently for Ragnarok, and that will result in him having more Mutilos at the beginning, or starting the upgrade a lot faster. 2 versus 1, not what you want.
Yeah, some small victories here for JKS, and he's trying to force this hatchery down. He will not be able to do it, but he's just harassing a lot. I think he could have picked off the drone maybe a second time had he controlled perfectly, but he didn't take the chance of it. And there's actually a lot of defensive Banelings being made here for Ragnarok. He knows that he's in a decent spot right now.
This is definitely a crucial time in the match now. We are in a position where both of them are trying to establish the third base. The Mutilas are just coming out, just started. No supplier block. Oh, needs to take the Baneling down.
He is playing with fire here, and he gets burned a little bit. 4 Banelings for 1, or rather 4 Lings for 1 Baneling, and the scout comes in. Obviously, he already knows what he's up against, but he's going to get a little bit more information here.
Yeah, in general, it was still okay. But you are right. That could have been controlled a little bit better and make sure that he kills less units.
Look at this. He actually has his extractors way faster, JKS that is, and this is a battle of gas. Whoever mines the most gas at the third base is going to get the lead of mutas, and will be able to control the game. No spore callers for either player just yet. They know they don't need them right now. They want to spend all the resources on controlling the map with Zerglings while spending all of the gas on the mutas. And you might actually catch one here. One taking some serious hits already.
This is one of the things that a lot of players still don't do. They don't build those extractors while the hatch is building, but start to build them as soon as it's completed, which always delays the gas mining by quite a bit. And we have a bit of an advantage for Ragnarok in the mutalist count, but that's something that is not gonna last.
Look at the gas income right now. He even put the 3 drones in the extractor before the hatchery was done, and he sent them over so early. It's exactly what you said most Zerg players are not doing. One muta looks like it will get picked off with another volley if he can hit it. He could actually, with the next wave of mutas, maybe turn around, and that's what he does. Forces the Ragnarok mutas to run away.
Also the faster upgrade with the +1 for JKS. So if he is able to identify that timing later on, or fights a fight where that upgrade is just about to finish, then he is going to have an advantage in the battle itself. The harvest account is still a little bit better for Ragnarok, which gives him the lead in the mineral income, which could become very important later down the road, but gas is of course much more important at this point.
Yeah. Queen gets sniped too, that hurts Injects. That was a huge oversight. He had Lings ready to defend, but they were not being used. He's so concerned about his mutalist because one mistake in a muta versus muta micro battle and you could actually lose the game in ZVZ.
And nice snipes against the overlords here. That's also something that is gonna wiggle down, especially since there's a supply block right now.
Yeah, that was really scary that he didn't move his mutas there for a second, but he does get them away. The supply block is gonna hurt. It doesn't matter how many resources you have if you can't spend them. Ling Run by here will actually be shut down. I feel like the more aggressive play goes to Ragnarok, and he's actually getting more done with less, as it turns out.
Yeah, definitely. He's the more aggressive player right now. And so far, the splits for Ragnarok were also really good to just react against the Lings running into the main base and natural his opponent. Oh, but with the battle here, he needs to be careful. That's 22 against 18. He tries to take down 1 or 2 of them. The armor upgrade is already completed, and here we go. A few additional mutalists are just moving in. He's trying to snipe one of them, gets it.
This is what I like to call mutalist confidence. JKS really tried to take an engagement that was very risky because of the mutalists that were going to fly out of the hatcheries. And at first, Ragnarok looked a little bit scared, but now he actually commits. And the upgrade's even, I believe, at this point. But this is
gets the lead. He gets the massive lead.
This is not good for JKS. He's actually taking a poor engagement here. The Queens are nowhere to be seen. Now they're here. Way too late. Doesn't matter anymore. And I think that's actually game.
Well, that is definitely going to put an end to the air dominance of JKS. Ragnarok is taking Queens and Mutalists alike apart. Taking the Queen out. Zerglings even reinforcing this. He's suddenly 67 army supply against 25. Ragnarok is on such a roll at this point. And this is the GG. And this is the victory for Zubu.
Zubu takes the win. Very close series. And that last game was really both players almost going for the exact same builds. JKS falling behind a little bit, but then getting his third base up faster. But taking some questionable engagements and not really dealing with the aggression of Ragnarok on the third. He lost those the Queen, for example, at the third base that affected his injects. Getting supply blocked as well.
Ragnarok just with a better decision making here. He knew exactly which fight to take and he took it. The Queens were a little bit too late there to help out, and I didn't even see it transfuse. He might not have had the energy, but that was exactly the win that we kind of expected from Ragnarok. JKS is just not the solid Zerg vs. Zerg player that you need, and he's absolutely not happy with his performance here. He knows that his team was really hoping for him to win it, that everything hinged on his shoulders, and he didn't come through.
Like, if you wanted to take a picture of somebody's face and put it next to frustration in the dictionary, you could have just screen capped what we saw there. You could see, like, in his eyes, that is the ultimate pro gamer frustration face, where you're just like, I know there were times in that game where I messed up. I could have done so many things a little bit better to actually edge out a lead, but...
No, this was definitely one of the games where you just look at it and I mean, that was very frustrating, and I think he already knew that there was so much pressure on him, you know, like going up against Ragnarok, and then you know that the Zerg vs. Zerg is not really your best matchup, so I feel for him.
Yeah, I really do too. You know, he was probably hoping that on Whirlwind he was not going to go into Zerg, maybe a counter pick, because that's such a popular map for Zerg players to pick. He was probably expecting that Azubu would be like, no, we're not going to use Zerg here, we're going to use a Zerg Sniper, because they're probably going to send the Zerg out. And he was probably expecting to play a different matchup there. Didn't happen, and Yeah, I saw that. That's an interesting colored HOT6 can you've got over there.
That was a very interesting move of putting it to the right, and that it's completely not blocked because something blocked me, and I'm like, now I put it even more on the spotlight. Great.
Yeah, well, you know, great job there. You've concealed it now. Somebody's going to have to ComSat scan to find it, and I don't think there's enough energy in that
That was
audience.
very smooth.
Yes.
Very smooth move.
So anyways, that's it. Azubo takes the match and solidifies their position a little bit more in the rankings.
It's great for Ragnarok as well. Ragnarok coming through for his team right now, and that also, of course, tells the coach, like, hey, put me on the next time as well. I want to play again.
Yeah, and also says, like, this guy is good for ZVZ, because when we do go to the playoffs, there are going to be some all-kill matches again, so you might want to put him out against a Zerg and say, oh, there's a Zerg that's getting out of control. I'm going to send Ragnarok here because he's actually winning all the ZVZs right now.
He has a pretty good win ratio, and as the sample size gets bigger and bigger, this becomes more relevant. So with another victory here, of course, against JKS, it's not like you just want a match against, let's say, Lino or whoever, but still, as you already said, that at least puts your name in there. And he is an option for the team, and that's what he showed today. Yeah. We've seen a lot of players actually come through for Zubu. In one of the games where we didn't see Symbol and Supernova because they were on foreign tournaments, we had Center playing really well.
Yeah, Zubu's actually just not messing around. They're really, really solid this season. He's asking, what was the point in which you felt like you could win the match, or when you were winning it, he asks. And he said when Boom Boom won the first set, he thought they're actually going to take... What he's saying...
이 정도만 4대1 정도로 이기지 않을까라는 생각을 했었는데
He said when we play in the GSTL, we usually win the first match, and so when Boom Boom won the game, he was feeling pretty confident at that point. So that, that's kind of a weird rationale there, but I guess if you feel the momentum from early on, you watch it happen. Can be one point where you think you might take the league. You might have thought so beforehand, and once the first game was there, he was like, yeah, okay.
For me, one of the most crucial matches was definitely the Lino Symbol game.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that was the one where it's like, wow, he just totally shut Lino down. That was the one I was concerned about.
So he's being asked of how he actually decided the lineup for the match.
잘하고 있었는데 이상하게 또 이 GSTL에선 지고 했던 그런
Symbol performs very well in individual league matches, but sometimes he is a little bit disappointing in the GSTL, as we've seen in the past. Last season, he lost a few matches when he came out as the ace player, so he didn't want to give him actually a lot of pressure, and that's why he didn't put him in last. And also, you know, if you want to get the best indicator possible, you might want to put him out early anyways, but he talked to all of his players to decide the order of the matches, what maps they want to play on, and so basically he took the players' input, which is always something you want to do as the coach. You never just want to say, hey, no, you're playing on Whirlwind, I'm telling you. You got to ask him, are you cool with Whirlwind? Because I was thinking maybe I could put you on Whirlwind. That's usually how it goes.
This is saying after Patience actually came into the team. He was doing quite well. That's what we talked about a little bit earlier today. So he actually wanted to play him, put him into the lineup so that he can play a few more matches in GSTL and get that experience that he didn't get while he was on the Prime team.
And I like that pen. He's got the pen. There he goes, puts it down. I'm like, put that pen down. Oh, no, he's keeping it. But yeah, it's funny that he says it about Patience, because Patience didn't win today, and it seemed like it might have been some sort of confidence issue in the late game. And anytime you go out in the booth, even if you lose, you get more experience. The playoff is really close now, so how are you guys preparing for the playoffs?
예, 참 힘든 상황이죠. 지금 개인적인 욕심으로는 1위로 올라가서 결승전에
Yeah, I saw that. He's been doing that the whole match, actually.
He really wanted to have the first place spot and wait for the other teams then in the finals. But he's just mentioning that when you actually look at the schedule, it's nearly impossible for them to get the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
Axiom-Acer is doing so well.
Yeah, they're doing so well, and they have to do so poorly going forward.
So the main goal is actually to get into the finals. So they want to go into the winner match and then go into the finals. That's the main goal this season, to at least reach the finals.
Yeah, so I actually really like the way he answered that, because a lot of teams will just say, oh, we want to win the whole thing, and that's it. But it's like, of course, but he's basically saying his original goal was to go straight to the finals. He thought that was obtainable,
선수.
As it is, like he's saying, it's not just like winning the thing, but I want to get to the finals.
축하드립니다.
We're gonna talk to Ragnarok now, who did win the final match, clinching the
본인의 손으로
victory.
아주부의 승리를 딱 지켜냈는데 어떠셨어요? 소감이 부스에서.
He's of course being asked about this game today, since he was able to win it, how he feels. And the last time that he actually came out here, he lost to life. He was a bit sad about that match.
돌개바람 2세트 들어가면서 준비를 열심히 해가지고 이번에 꼭 이길 수 있도록.
So after that he decided the lineup for the die and the entry, he saw that the map was whirlwind, and he really prepared a lot for the map itself. So he was able to win this game, and of course he's pretty happy that he was able to take it.
너무 이제 다재다능한 선수죠.
And,
이제 신건 선수가 이제
Really well played by him.
많은 팀의 감독들이
And when you play as EVZ, both players go for the same thing, and it's music, and you have like the other players an advantage, and you're able to win so convincingly. A lot of times it's stressful, but when you take that win, it feels so good. And mirror matchups can always be stressful, usually more than regular matchups.
텃세를 부리는지.
Obviously, he's pretty good at EVZ, as we discussed before.
돈을 내는지 라면 끓여오라고 시키진 않는지.
네, 설거지하라고 하진 않는지.
They're just asking about Symbol, if he's actually, if they are friends, and if he teaches him a lot in the ZVZ, if he's a helpful teammate.
They're both actually former teammates.
Exactly. I would be really surprised if anything else but a yes comes out of his mouth now.
It actually may have even been Symbol who suggested to bring him.
So he's talking about similar playstyles that they had, that even back then in the days when they were at TSL, they had a very similar style. They came into Team Azubu together, so they're pretty good friends still.
세공을 한 뒤에 얘기를 말씀하고 있어요.
얼굴도 붉어지셨고요. 더 하실 말씀 있으면 더 부탁드릴게요. 강동현 선수에 대해서.
Any more comments about Symbol you could say to everybody?
저도 경기 이번에 아까 TL 준비하면서도 열심히 도와주시고 또 경기할 때
He always helps me a lot, practicing a lot for the matches. And before the match, my hands were cold, and he warmed them up for me.
진짜 여러모로 많이 챙겨주고
It was not very warm and very embarrassing for Symbol.
It's getting really cold.
Yeah, and you know, actually, when you get nervous and when you're playing StarCraft Science, your hands can actually get cold because you're moving your hands so much and you're sitting there warming up in the booth. That might have been an issue for him.
무대에서 엑시메이스와 붙을 확률이
It's always good to have a Symbol help you out with
이렇게
that.
되면은 저 지난 경기에서
This studio is not so cold as our last one, though. We always had to have heat warmers all the time back there. And it's not as cold as it will be. It's going to be much colder coming forward. You're actually having a pretty warm winter so far. It's not winter yet, but end of the year.
방송 경기에 대해서 적응이 덜 돼가지고.
So they're actually being asked about Axiom-Acer, if they meet them in the finals, if he would like to go out against Innovation because he recently lost to him. I don't think he would want to meet him again.
He's probably going to say that I'm not really playing well against Terran recently. But until the finals, I could actually prepare to play against Innovation, so he's not really scared of him if he has to play him, but he needs more time. He's not ready yet.
Yeah.
And it's actually pretty clear that commentators think that it's high likely we're going to have a Zuba versus Axiom-Acer in the finals, and I think a lot of people think so too.
Boom Boom is going to be the next player that's going to be interviewed here. So he's actually being asked if the coach told him anything special when he came out as the first player today.
이번 주에는 서로 한마디도 안 한 것 같아요.
It's just saying that the coach is always keeping him motivated and he always giving pep talks. But this week, apparently he didn't talk to the coach at all.
Not even once.
그럴 수 있죠.
아니, 말은 안 해도 카톡으로 얘기할 수 있는 거니까요.
I guess he was feeling a little bit independent. So I guess they sent Kakao messages since they didn't actually talk using words, is what he was joking about. Kakao, for those who don't know, is like WhatsApp. It's a messaging program in Korea that's used more than text messages, actually.
Yeah. Nobody here uses text messages.
It's like
everybody has a Kakao ID.
Yeah, it's a 3G or over Wi-Fi text-to-text thing, so it's free to use. You don't have to spend your text messages. Everybody has Kakao. If you don't have Kakao, you gotta get it. If you don't have Kakao, you get it, try it.
Like in Korea, like really everyone, even like grandmothers and grandfathers, there's nobody who uses text messages.
So any comments to the fans, he asks?
우승할지 안 할지 모르는 거잖아요. 그래서 일단
Boom actually have a very serious note today.
저희 팀의 그 희범이나 동현이나 성환이나 다 잘해.
We're not sure if we can make it to the finals or not. We have to actually play our best every day, take it really seriously.
다 잘 되는 것 같아요 요즘에.
네.
So Simul and Ragnarok are
축하드리면서
playing really
감사합니다.
well
오늘 축하드리고요.
recently. That's something that he's talking
네,
about, and that he actually like learns a lot from them, and that they're going to help each other to improve even further.
그렇죠. 마치
Yeah, the Zerg trio there, all working together.
Yeah.
Very TSL-esque. Seriously, though, it looks like Boom Boom has grown up a lot since his first days. The way he was answering those questions, wasn't joking around, wasn't messing around, being very
Boom
somber.
Boom is making his comeback, dude. Like,
Yeah.
this is like the Boom Boom of old.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see. Looking forward to seeing him maybe in the next season of WCS.
For you here with their first appearance under the new teammate, the new old teammate, not successful today, losing the match to Azubu with the 2-4.
I think most people not expecting to see a win for Tastar and a loss for Lenok on the same board, but that's how it went down today.
Yeah. So Azubu pretty happy about that.
Yeah, this means that they're going to pretty much solidify themselves in second place, most likely. And as far as indicator goes, they are at 2 losses instead of 1 for unlike Axiom-Acer, but their indicator is so far behind, plus 11 to plus 3. So passing them, like the coach said earlier, is basically impossible at this point.
It is impossible. It is not possible anymore. I'm just thinking about it. Thinking we have made like any kind of mistake here, but I do not think that it's possible. If Axiom-Acer gets all killed
And Azubu
gets all killed,
That's the only way they tie.
yeah, and then the direct comparison comes into play, and then Axiom-Acer wins again. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's unless I missed something, it's impossible.
Warnings, maybe, or something like that, I guess, could come into play, but I highly doubt that's going to happen.
Innovation currently is still the best player in the individual ranks, but Symbol is getting closer.
Yeah, he grows up to 7 wins here. So, he's not at the same win ratio as Innovation, but with one more win, he will pass him.
You know, actually, that could influence a potential ace match. I feel with the money that you can actually win as the most successful player, that is something that the coach is probably going to consider as well if they go into an ace match.
That is actually a really good point. Wow, that was clever. You saying that makes me...
I would talk to the coach and would be like, dude, please send me out. I want to have that extra money.
By the way, next week we have StarCraft, and then a little bit more StarCraft. So pay attention to the schedule. All the matches next week will be at nighttime, 6 p.m. So the same time we have the matches today. We have Axiom-Acer versus Seoul on Wednesday. Then we have StarTale up against Axiom-Acer again on Thursday. And then last but not least, it is going to be our 10th and final pennant race match, Azubu versus Seoul on Friday at 6 p.m.
A lot of Team League coming your way, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely make sure that you tune in for those. Nothing on Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, so tell all your friends too who might not have tuned in or might not have caught this one, or somebody who just watched the VOD, just turn it off already after the match is over, because you need to know that the schedule is different for next week, and we're going to have 3 broadcasts in a row. So it's your lucky week. Didn't have one on Tuesday this week, so going to make up for that next week.
Yeah, so a slightly changed schedule, but with a lot of team matches. And Seoul still having a little bit of a chance here, but it's going to be very difficult for them, so they have to perform really well if they want to surpass one of the other teams and actually get into the playoffs. Could still happen, though.
Yeah, absolutely could. So things are getting really tense, and we're kind of coming to a close here for this season.
Exactly. So tune in. Next Wednesday is the next team match, and this is it for the day. For you, unfortunately, not successful in the first appearance under the new team name. Azubu, on the other hand, solidifying their second spot in the ranks. We're going to see you guys next week. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Bye-bye.
4 years later down the line, my progression is my profession. I'm doing shows with a 9. My mama's trying to kick in my